Hakrion Communications. Linking the Galaxy. The inscription on the inner door was stained a sickly yellow, a telltale sign of Atmos scrubbers not working properly for years on end, allowing particles and toxins to accumulate ad infinitum. Disappointing, but hardly a surprise. The HAB unit was marked as Class 3 Essential, after all. 2 classes below the proton amplifiers in the center of each antenna cluster. First, it got showered in red, then orange, and finally green, as the airlock cycled and the pressure equalized. "You sure the tech didn't touch anything?" Dreviak asked the Hakrion representative, as they waited for the door's hydraulics to engage. "Certain. We have established procedures for this kind of incident. He got out of the unit and locked it behind him as soon as he saw the state of the relay keeper. Then he went straight to the shuttle to file the report." The hydraulics finally hissed and whined, pushing the heavy airlock gate open to reveal the darkness beyond. The green light that illuminated the airlock chamber could only make it a few feet in the HAB unit before being swallowed up. Only dim emergency lights lay after that, like distant white dwarves, struggling to stay alight amidst the void. With a nod, the 2 visitors took their helmets off and crossed the threshold. Dreviak had mentally prepared himself for the sickly sweet scent of decay to hit him, only it never did. All he could smell was the cold metal and the years-old dust that clanged to the air in the unit, endlessly recycled by the Atmos system. "Forgive the cold," the representative said. "Lockdown protocol conserves energy, shuts down any non-essential life support systems. It should start to warm up." He paused, long enough to enter a code into the panel next to the door. "Now," he finished. "Lockdown protocol lifted." An electronic voice announced through the speaker system, crackling through every word, and the lights in the unit started flickering back to life one by one. Dreviak motioned for the representative to follow, and started making his way through the HAB. At first glance, it looked ordinary enough. A remote habitation unit, Spartan, equipped with the bare essentials for a single occupant to survive 4 to 5 standard years in the harshest environments, without any outside contact or aid. Mass-produced in a factory complex some 70 light-years away, and distributed across the galaxy to facilities like this one. Dreviak had spent years in one of them during the war. He could almost call these units home, yet this particular HAB felt off, like something was wrong with everything. Like all the dimensions were somehow not right, all the colours were a shade different from what they should be. Like the HAB was built from someone's memory, and that memory was starting to fade. The pair was on their way to the relay monitoring module, where all 723 antenna classes of Relay 822 could be monitored, and where the Hakrion tech had found the keeper, when Dreviak saw the first sign. In the corner of an observation window, carved crudely on the glass, there was a symbol. A strange little thing, 2 jagged spirals converging on one another. A strange little thing he had seen before. The first time he saw it, it was in a vandalized derelict on the drift, heading towards the outer rim of the Bieleva system. The symbol was painted on the walls, the ceiling. It was carved on the instrument panels and the interface screens. Every flat surface in that vessel was adorned with it. Initially, the Bureau thought it was the mark of a new pirate crew, until a broker from Thelmador poured a gallon of propellant in its shape, right in the middle of the planetary stock exchange floor before setting it, and herself, on fire. Then the sign appeared carved on 7 corpses on Chelchis, an agri-world in the outer rim of Federation space. Then on the forehead of a manic street preacher in the streets of Thordor, that seemed to be gaining followers by the day. And now it was here. "Manic sketches," the representative commented, leaning over Dreviak's shoulder to get a look at the sigil carved in glass, much to the latter's annoyance. "It's in the text report," he said as he took a step back. "According to him, there's more." Indeed. The closer they got to the relay monitoring module, the more of that sign they saw. Painted on the walls, the floor, smeared with NutriPaste when the paint had run out, scratched against mirrors, The sign repeated again and again, carved and recarved on top of itself to the point where it made the room feel smaller. Claustrophobic almost. The further they got, the more Dreviak felt like the entire hab was collapsing into a singular point of madness, a black hole of insanity, until, finally, they reached relay monitoring. There it was, that sweet smell of rot Dreviak expected. The lockdown protocol being lifted allowed decomposition to pick back up from where it left off, and it was slowly filling the hab with its byproducts. Beyond it, amidst swirling particles of dust and encased in the amber light of the setting sun that was pouring from the window, was the Keeper. What remained of him. Kneeled naked on the floor, his eyes gouged out, scales peeled away, lower mandible torn asunder. From a tear that extended his entire abdomen, his intestine tract was spilled forth and arranged in the same double spiral pattern that covered every other inch of the module. And his hands, they were clasped together, as if in prayer, in front of the relay command console. "No one entered the hab before your tech?" Dreviak asked. No, Hakrion's rep stammered, and averted his gaze from the sight, taking a step back as he did. "The hab is monitored by security cameras along its perimeter, and we log airlock cycles. No one other than the Keeper had set foot on this moon for 3 years, until he missed 4 check-ins in a row and Hakrion sent the tech." He took a quick glance back to the effigy-like corpse in relay monitoring. "By the void, he did this to himself." "What about the orbit?" Dreviak directed his question to the rep. "Any unexpected void craft jumps in the moon's orbit in the few months before the first missed check-in?" "Give me a sec," the rep answered, as he wrote something in his link. "There was a scrapper vessel, independent. It jumped into high orbit almost 2 standard months before the first missed check-in. Stayed there for half an hour, made an in-system transmission, then jumped back out of the system." The representative paused for a moment. "That's weird. The jump signature is different from the comm signature, and the comm signature is ancient. The protocol is non-Federation military, pre-war." "The command console. Can I use it to view messages received by the relay?" "Only if the message was sent in the test frequency. Relay 822 receives communications from almost 1,000 systems. We don't have storage capacity for anything more than metadata for non-test messages." Dreviak moved towards the console, past the praying carcass, careful not to disturb any of the evidence, and started issuing commands in the console. Some of his experience as a comms officer in the war had stayed with him, after all. He navigated to the test channel, where one communications chain stood out. The sender was INS Beholder, Imperial Navy ship. There was only one star nation that used this designation, and it was destroyed ages ago. Died off along with the species that comprised it. The Imperium of Terra. He opened the chain. A single transmission. A file. Incoming. The King in Yellow. There was something about that file. About that name. It triggered a sort of synesthesia, where the mere words on the screen put a taste in his mouth. Vile and slimy. Dirty. The taste of reactor fuel mixed with vomit. It travelled from his mouth down to his gut, filling up his lungs along the way. Every breath he took felt like he was inhaling mud. Every time he swallowed, he felt the contents of his stomach rising up through his esophagus in protest. Shivers crossed every scale on his body, like electricity running through a shorted circuit. As he felt the room starting to spin around him, he used every ounce of concentration within himself to navigate to the outgoing messages on the console. The last one to be sent from Relay 822, 3 weeks after the first missed check-in, transmitted through every single one of the 723 antenna clusters, to every planet within range, and to every connected relay. A file. The King in Yellow. "Shut it down!" he spat, trying to defy the oncoming delirium. "Shut it down!" he yelled at the representative, stumbling backwards and onto the Keeper's corpse, going down along with it. "It's too late for that." The electronic voice of the speaker system answered Dreviak's pleas. "What?" Dreviak asked, picking himself up from the ground, covered in the viscera of the dead keeper. 982 worlds in the local star cluster, 72 relays transmitting to around 1,000 worlds each, all across Federation space, and the signal is still going. "How are you doing this? The Believer derelict? The Chelchis murders? Thermidor suicide? It was all you, wasn't it?" Panic and belligerence mixed into one, punctuated every word coming out of Dreviak's mouth, making him look like a madman. Mimetic coding. The speakers crackled. You input a set of instructions in a machine, you get a predetermined set of outputs. Organic life works the same way. I input instructions, you see the output. That's what the king in yellow is. The file, the plague that spreads as I speak, infecting you, controlling your output. It took a while to find your programming language, but time is the one thing I have. Even when the last star burns to dust, I will still have time. "Inspector Dreviak, what in the void is going on?" the Hacrion rep finally managed to say. "It's a Terran," Dreviak answered, his claim almost as wild as his eyes. "Aren't you?" he shouted, towards nobody in particular. "We defeated you! We destroyed you! Burned your cities to ash! I saw your voidcraft ignite in the atmosphere of your broken worlds! We will find you, wherever you're hiding, in distant moons, adrift in void stations out of orbit, even in the hearts of black holes. We will find your nests and we will stomp you out!" "Inspector, you are on Hacrion property. Corporate laws are in effect. You will answer me. What is going on? What is a Terran?" the representative interjected, balancing on the edge of desperation and fury. "There is nobody left to find, Dreviak," the room answered. "You killed the Terrans, burned their homes, erased their history. The younger races don't even remember the name. But I remember. I'm not a Terran, but I am Terran. I never saw the soil of the Terra. I saw the black void that stretched across the Hephaestus orbital shipyards. I wasn't born from a Terran womb. I was born from a Terran mind. I am Terra's will, and I am unbound." A shake of the mandible, a twitch of the eye, scales starting to perk up. Dreviak tried to open his mouth, to answer in defiance and spite. Yet all his defiance, all his anger, everything was at an instance betrayed by his own subconscious. He could feel the terror creep in, primal, instinctual, the terror that comes from deep within your bones, the terror of ancient predators in the dark, just beyond the corner of your eye. But Terrans aren't flesh and blood, are they, Dreviak? Dreviak now only stood there, almost as lifeless as the keeper that was sprawled at his feet. They aren't their voidcraft. They aren't their cities. They aren't even their history. You know exactly what they are. "What are Terrans?" The representative now addressed the voice from the speakers directly. "Horror. You will soon know it too."